Well, it is a gesture that really signals the public perception about what education is and how we need to have education that is relevant in the local context. So, in case of India, gender discrimination really affects education for girls and education for certain kinds of boys as well. Similarly, caste is an impediment. So, lower caste people traditionally did not get education because they were not allowed to learn anything formally. And Savitribai Phule is, in a sense, a revolutionary reformer who started a school, of course, with the help of British grants, British government with their support, to educate both girls and boys from lower castes, which was not allowed traditionally. And to signify her contribution, the university in the same place, Pune, where she started her work, is renamed after her. Well, the answer is slightly indirect, if I may say so. A university can influence women's rights indirectly, not in a direct fashion. As I said, right from Savitribai Phule and even before her, there were many illuminous careers of women reformers, writers, educationists in Pune and around. Pune especially is known for liberal, reformist kind of movements. So women's rights were upheld in Western India more than other places, and within Western India, Pune had been the place where championing and advocacy for women's rights always took place. Now, if you want to look at the role of the university, then as a formal institution, of course, the university extends and expands the opportunities for women's education, and by giving education ensures that they will play a better role in public life also. Once a girl gets education, as an adult, she might become more empowered, more effective in public and even in her private life. That is the expectation behind a university. Ours, I must highlight, is a state university, which means completely public funded university. Government of Maharashtra sponsors this university, and therefore we are also bound by the rules and laws and regulations by the government. Now, when I say that, one of the very important principles that the government really advocates through university education like ours is social justice. So, education for all, poor, rich, middle class, whoever. So, for poverty, we will not say no to any student. And our university is one of the champions in this. So, we have many schemes where no girl child will be kept out of our radius. We give free ships, we give scholarships, we give special schemes like Earn While You Learn. We also have subsidized hostel facility and food facility on the campus. So, in that sense, our university definitely champions women's rights in this manner in the educational field. Beyond education, what we find is university authorities and university faculty are very active in public debates outside the university premises. And in that respect, I should tell you that SPPU, Savitribai Phule Pune University faculty members, especially from social sciences programs, are very, very proactive as public intellectuals. In India,
मेंबर वगैरे म्हणायला पाहिजे का मॅडम साधं आपलं हे केलं
नाही. So what you find is that the faculty members as scholars, as academicians and also as opinion makers are very, very active in their own academic publications, teaching related activities, but also in the outside public sphere. And this is an expectation typical in India about a teacher, that you are a public intellectual, a commentator. You should be useful for the public, really, beyond academic circles. And there I feel most of us have been championing women's rights, women's liberation in various ways. Of course, the indigenous discourses of what is women's rights, what is women's empowerment could be very different than what is being talked about in the US or in Germany or in Italy or elsewhere. Definitely so. But in the local context, the faculty and the university is definitely influencing women's rights, and they are advocating that the rights should be really, enjoyed and ensured for women. I would reframe the question.
Yeah,
I think the question itself has to be asked in a different fashion. Savitribai imparted education, as I told you, under the British educational system in India. So modern educational system with formal schools and formal teachers was inaugurated by the British Educational Department, and 1848 Savitribai starts the first school with the active support of her husband, reformer writer Jyotiba Phule in Pune. Now, they were imparting education that was agreed upon and passed by the British educational authorities. Today, so I would say that she had any mistakes or any failures in what she envisioned and what she implemented. What she was doing was perfectly all right to the time and the situation that was there at that time. Today, I feel we need to relook at Savitribai's work. In fact, I feel one thing which comes out of her entire contribution is not just giving formal education to her students, but making them self-confident and making education relevant to the time and space, where you are, who you are, what you should do. So in that sense, there was this critique of the existing social system that her young students could imbibe. I would give you two instances, and I feel Savitribai inspires me in that. One of her early graduates was a girl from a very downtrodden group, which is even today an educationally backward community in India, the Mangs. And Mukta Salve was one of the Mang girls who spoke in the graduation of that small school at a primary level, of course, where the British officials had also come. And the young girl said that, well, education opens my eyes, but I would also urge you that everyone in India is not on the same plane. There are hierarchies, and where I come from, I want to tell you that the hierarchy should be questioned first, then only my education can be useful to myself and my community. So I would draw from that, and I would definitely say that today's curriculum and the way we teach it, pedagogy, so our design of courses and the way we impart education definitely has to be re-looked at, drawing from Savitribai, where one of the major things was your location of the teacher, location of the student, and trying to think about bringing them on the same plane, one, and two, whether that educational content, though you teach everyone the same content, how you could make it more relevant to each one, because everyone might have a different background, and therefore after you finish your schooling, when you go out in the wider world, you would use it in different ways, right? So that relevance part, social relevance part, and also don't just imbibe what the society tells you to do, but ask questions about it. So the spirit of questioning everything that really comes with modern education, Savitribai was trying to give to her students. And therefore a young girl, Mukta Salve, could write a letter, read it in front of the British officials. Not many upper caste people with power could do that at that time. So Savitribai, I feel, could instill that kind of courage and confidence in her students, and I think that's what we should do. So if I want to draw from her, maybe my educational curriculum and the way I teach it should be, coordinated with the time and space needs of where I am, I teach, and why I teach. And in sociology, especially, I feel the why question is very important. And you get that, but of course, times are changing. So I should do it in today's context, not just glorify Savitri Bai and limit myself at that. So I should draw inspiration, go ahead with today's times. That's how I would look at it. If you ask me a mistake or a failure or a shortcoming in Savitri Bai, I would say that she was not that critical of the British educational system. But I can understand that it was too early for her, because that was the first time when women had entered. She herself, as a woman from a lower caste, was one of the very few women who had entered the field of modern education. So to be able to criticize something, you need some time. First you have to know what it is, and then you can turn back and say something with confidence. I feel what she did was fair enough for her time and her situation. But that could be one of the things, that she did not critique the state, the government, the policies, and she did not critique the educational system. But in a certain way, she didn't as her ideological position also. So I wouldn't really say that it was a shortcoming. Maybe it was a studied position that she had taken, because at that time she wanted to avail education and not to critique education and go away from it. So modern education was seen as good at that time completely. So that was it.